Okay, we got our outer casing stripped down off of our wires. We know we're not notched on our wires or anything, nice and clean and everything. Now we need to strip the ends of these off, the insulation off of the soft copper that's on the inside of here. Well, we know that this is 18 gauge, 8 strand. So we need to have a tool that will strip 18 gauge wire. Well, I have an assortment here, but I have a personal preference, and I'll show you that here in a second. One of the ones that electricians like to use is this little jewel right here. Well, this is really good for stripping household circuit wires for, your plugs and your lighting circuits and that sort of thing. But this isn't really that great for doing low voltage wiring, because you need to have something that's going to do more than just cut and strip. Sometimes when we're out in the field, we have to put little wire connectors on and that sort of thing. So we need to have a way of crimping. But this is the electrician's favorite little tool right here. And if I can get a shot of that, maybe so. We need something that will strip off 18 gauge. And if you look over to the left-hand side, you see 22, 20, and 18. So the third one down should strip 18 gauge wire. And that's this type wire that we're using here. So let's go back down here. Let's go ahead and strip off the black one. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, third notch down, push in and pull off. Well, that didn't work very well. Didn't take it off. Okay, so we'll go back to the smaller one and knock it off. So this isn't very good for stripping low voltage wire. So we're going to say that's over there. Now, we do have a couple other little tools here. This is a Raptor. This is one that you would get like at a AC parts house. And if you look on here, right here, it says 20, 22, and 18, and then 16. So we're going to go to the second hole down and strip off a wire. There's a cutter right there. See the little cutter? You can cut right there. This is gauge wire that you can do in a residential, and you can cut it with that or notch it. This up here is for insulated and non-insulated wire connectors. You can this is your pinchers. Now, the thing that I have a problem with this is the pivot point. When you're trying to pinch for a wire connector, you really want to be able to put some force on there, because you want to push that wire connector into the wire itself, like with that little point right there. When you do that, the pivot point here puts this at the weaker side of your pliers. If it was down here, it would work better, because then you could really get some muscle on it. Up here, you're just kind of pinching it at the end. But this has still got your 18 gauge. We're going to go to the second hole, and let's strip off the brown one. You take the little, go right here. Let's go 1, 2, 18 gauge. See, that doesn't work either. That wire just moves up and down. So it tells me that that gauge on there is a little bit wrong. So we're going to step it up here and strip it off. There we go. When we're stripping these off, it is recommended by the manufacturer to only strip these off about 1/4 of an inch. So this is about 1/4 of an inch, maybe just a little bit more. But that's so when you put that into your thermostat, that you don't have a whole lot of bare wire hanging in your thermostat, so your wires can't have a possible chance of touching. Well, anyway, this is another type of stripper that you can get, and it has where you can put your little wire insulators on your wires. This is a total piece of crap. This does the same kind of thing. Your pinchers are up here for your different gauge wires for your putting your wire connectors on. You do have your little holes for cutting wire. This thing is so, I don't ever use this thing. But there again, you have your gauges for your wire stripper. And it says second notch up for 18 gauge. Well, we're going to go right there. Second notch up, 18 gauge. Pinch it off. Nope, didn't work. So we're going to take it down here to the 20, 22. There we go. There's a 1/4 inch. Got it. That is amazing. It says 18. This is 18 gauge. Shows it on the wire itself. All right. My personal favorite, and you can get it at any of your electrical supply houses, Home Depot, Lowe's, stuff like that, is this particular type crimper here. There's your cutter. There's your stripper. There is your pinchers for putting your wire connectors on. There's your pivot point. This means that you can get a stronger pinch when you're putting your wire connectors onto wires here than up here. When we're stripping off just the outer coating on the wire itself, it doesn't take a lot of pressure. And this pincher right here is just to twist wires and that sort of thing. There's your cutter if you need to use your cutter. So what we're going to do is we're going to strip off, set that up at 18, it comes right off, just like that. Personal favorite. This is the type that I like. On my wire stripper that I'm using here, the second notch on here is for 18 gauge. And when you're doing thermostat wiring, I've got this set up for, like, if I'm going to wire a thermostat, you want to get you about 1/4 inch, hit your second notch, comes right off just like that. Nice and easy, no problem. There's another one. There we go. Whoops, didn't get it in the second notch. There we go. See how short these are. These are not stripped off really, really long. They're short, so when you install these into a thermostat, there's no way that two wires can possibly connect outside of the wiring terminals and cause the unit to do something you don't want it to do.